Hey there, greetings. It's the Bernie Miklasz Show here on STLSportsCentral.com. I'm Bernie, and I appreciate all of your support for everything that I do in local media and STL Sports Central, KMOX, Seeing Red Podcast with Will Leach, Cardinal Territory with Katie Wu, and on and on and on and on. Today's topic on this Friday, well, it's another Cubs versus Cardinals weekend at Busch Stadium. And once upon a time, that was a big deal. And it was a big deal through the decades. Now, it's still a big deal to an extent because this is such a historically prominent, fantastic rivalry. And it's easy to travel back and forth Wrigley Field and Busch Stadium, depending on where the site of the game is. Cubs fans and Cardinals fans, do a great job of turning out. But given the relative apathy of Cardinals fans, see, that's the thing that's changed. The relative apathy of Cardinals fans and a significant drop in enthusiasm and home attendance, Cubs and Cardinals at Busch Stadium just isn't as meaningful as we have seen in the past. So in advance, let me say this, not that I think any Cubs fans will be watching my video. Maybe they will. Who knows? Thank you, Cubs fans, for helping us put people in the seats at Busch Stadium this weekend. Much appreciated. Anyway, the Cardinals rank 18th in majors. Last week they were 19th. I don't know why they went up to 18th. I think some other team dropped. But technically, the Cardinals are 18th in the majors for average tickets sold per home game this season. Last season, they ranked 7th. In 2023, even with a 71-91 record, the Cardinals ranked 4th in the majors in home attendance. In 2022, the first full season after COVID, the Cardinals were 2nd in the majors in home attendance, with only the huge market LA Dodgers drawing better. The 22 Cardinals drew a little over 3.3 million to Busch that season. Now, the 2025 Cardinals are on pace to draw 2.3 million. So if that 2.3 million is in fact the final number, but it actually may go down, it means the Cardinals will have lost at least 1 million ticket buying fans since 2022. That's a pretty staggering thing to realize when you hear that. Another way to put it, in 2022, the Cardinals had an average of 40,994 tickets sold per home game. We can just call it 41,000. This year's team is averaging 28,881 tickets sold per home game. That's a pretty big drop. Now, just to go back into history a little bit, the new Busch Stadium opened in 2006, and excluding the 20 and 21 seasons impacted by the pandemic, the Cardinals ranked 2nd, 3rd, or 4th in the majors in home attendance a total of 13 times since 2006. Until last season, their worst attendance ranking at Busch Stadium was never worse than 7th. So you see that the trends are pretty ominous. It's going down, 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 down. And the landscape for baseball in St. Louis has changed dramatically. Some would even say drastically. For the Cardinals to rank 18th isn't the end of the world. And we have seen, the Cardinals are still, for example, outdrawing like the Detroit Tigers, one of the best teams in baseball. But for the Cardinals to rank 18th it isn't the end of the world. It's still kind of a stunning turn of events, right? But we have seen these lulls in home attendance before. Talk to Randy Carricker, some of my other friends in native St. Louisans, and talk about the 1970s at the old Busch Stadium. I saw it firsthand in the early 90s still in the old Busch Stadium before Bill DeWitt bought the team in 96. It got kind of bleak out there. It really did. This is St. Louis, a place touted for being the best baseball town in America. I don't think we have that title anymore. And by the way, I'm not saying fans have proclaimed themselves to be that. I'm just saying the way the way St. Louis is viewed from the outside. I'm seeing a lot of stories about the shocking fall in attendance and stories about how the Cardinals are no longer prominent in terms of like October baseball, things like that. So it happened gradually, but St. Louis, at least for now, has lost the title as the best baseball town in America. It's an unofficial title. There's no official title. But since the end of that 2022 season, I think that was the end, at least for now. Certainly they can get back there. We can get back there being viewed as the best baseball town in America. I still think it's viewed as one of the better baseball towns in America, but you can't attach best baseball town to St. Louis when the pitiful Colorado Rockies, who have won only 30 of 114 games this season, are drawing more fans at home than the Cardinals. And the Cardinals, heck, they rank 11th in the National League in average tickets sold per home game, with only Cincinnati, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Miami playing in front of smaller crowds. And the only major league team that has lost more fans at home games for 2024 to 2025 are the Tampa Bay Rays. But that doesn't count. That doesn't count because the Rays are playing their home games at the Yankee spring training home, Steinbrenner Field, which has got a seating capacity of 12,000. So for the second year in a row, because it happened last year too, for the second year in a row, the Cardinals have lost more fans and average tickets sold per home game than any team in the majors. This has happened now 2 years in a row. So what's happening? I mean, after all due respect to City SC, the Cardinals don't have like a huge level of competition during the baseball season. Yeah, the Blues when they're playing hockey before that season ends, but the Blues and the Cardinals always existed peacefully. They have a great partnership. When the Cardinals were great, the Blues were still drawn very, very well and vice versa. And the Cardinals do not have an in-market NFL franchise to compete against for tickets anymore. So this is kind of sad. It's a little weird because if you go by the astronomical TV ratings in this market, which are booming for the Kansas City Chiefs, booming, and just go into some of these stores that sell sporting gear, team-oriented sporting gear. Look at all the KC Chiefs stuff. The Kansas City Chiefs right now may be more popular or close to being as popular as the St. Louis Cardinals in St. Louis. I'm going to dig into that, some of the reasons for all of this in my second segment of today's Bernie Show. But first, it's DraftKings time. And if you haven't played DraftKings Pick 6 Daily Fantasy before, there's a time to jump in for the final few weeks of this baseball season. And the opening of the NFL and college football seasons are right around the corner. It's a great time to be a sports fan, and it's a wonderful time for you to get acquainted or get familiar with how to play DraftKings Pick 6. And if you're a new customer, DraftKings are going to give you some bonus money to make your picks when you sign up. More on that later. DraftKings Pick 6 makes it simple to get started, and so put that baseball knowledge to good use and win some of that cash. Just download the outstanding Pick 6 app from DraftKings, and it's easy to get started in making your selections. Each day, DraftKings sets a stat line for dozens of major league hitters or pitchers for the next game. So you pick more or less, or if you want to call it, well, they actually list it as more or less, but you know what I'm talking about, higher or lower, over or under, whatever that stat line is. You got to pick two or more of your favorite players, and then you're in the game. You're in the hunt for some success and for some of that cash money. I have one for you on Friday's Cards Cubs game. You can figure out your other selection if you want. But for Friday night's game, Cards Cubs, lefty Matthew Boyd starting for the Cubs. He's having an excellent season with a 2.34 ERA in 22 starts. In 2 starts against the Cardinals this season, Boyd hasn't allowed a run in 11 innings. The Cardinals have had in those 2 starts only 6 hits and 40 at bats against Boyd. And that's a 150 batting average. And to say the least, this is a favorable matchup for Boyd. So can the Cardinals manage at least 5 hits against Boyd in this one? Well, in his last 9 starts coming into Friday, Matthew Boyd has given up 5 or more hits in only 2 of those 9 games. DraftKings Pick 6 has set a line of 4.5 hits allowed by Boyd. So if you think he'll keep the Cardinals down for the 3rd time this season and keep them under 5 hits, then you would choose less than 5 hits. You would go with under or less than 4.5 hits allowed by Boyd. Pick 6 is available here in Missouri, so there's nothing to hold you back. I really enjoy playing DraftKings Pick 6 Fantasy, and I think you will like it too. Do not settle for smaller payouts at other places. No way. You deserve better. You don't have to do it. You just got to switch to DraftKings Pick 6, and you'll be in the right place at the right time for winning the cash. Right now, new customers can get $25 to use in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. So just download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now. Use the code STL Sports. It's important to remember that. The code is STL Sports for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, I appreciate your patience, and I'm going to always just say this every time, probably too many times, whatever. But thank you for just being supportive of the Bernie Show. Appreciate all your comments. I don't care if you blast me. I want you to be honest in your assessment of whatever I say or write. It's all good with me. As I've said many times before, I totally understand why Cardinals fans are disillusioned or even disgusted by the competitive downturn of Cardinals baseball, and a downturn in popularity has followed that. This didn't have to happen, but ownership in the front office, as I've said or written a million times already, but still, we got to review. Ownership in the front office got complacent, didn't maintain the high standards, let the player development operation fall apart, and took the fans for granted. The Cardinals, frankly, this is crass, but they went from being one of the very smartest baseball operations in Major League Baseball for a long time. They were the envy of much larger market teams. So they've gone from like the highest baseball IQ in the majors for a long time to now, frankly, in the last 7, 8, 9, 10 years, they've been one of the dumbest teams in terms of organizationally, in terms of baseball decisions. When you go from being the smartest to the dumbest, it's actually kind of a miracle that they haven't done worse. The Cardinals, however, I never lose sight of the overall historical perspective. And I know some of you probably don't like me reviewing all that either, but I'm going to do it because, number one, I think it's relevant. Number two, because the Cardinals lost their way and they should never let it happen. It's a classic example of when the second column I ever wrote for the Post-Dispatch, I was in Montreal with the Cardinals. And it was 1989. And I talked to I talked to Whitey Herzog, 1989. Summer of 89, talked to Whitey Herzog on the field, and we were talking about, the way the franchise was kind of, the Cardinals as a team were still good, still in the playoff race and all this stuff. In fact, they went down, they went into September with a chance to get in the playoffs in 89, but then Todd Worrell blew out an elbow, and that was that. And they faded down the stretch and the Cubs won the division. But anyway, Whitey, I'll never forget what he told me, and this was kind of like my first education about baseball in St. Louis, ownership in St. Louis. And Whitey Herzog, I'll never forget, we're around a batting cage in Montreal, and he said, the damn shame about all this is, Bernie, is that, the brewery, Anheuser-Busch, they're killing the Golden Goose. They had like the perfect situation here where fans love this team. Nobody came to the ballpark in the 70s, or the attendance wasn't that good. And we built this thing back up, and we're entertaining, and we're winning. And we won a World Series, went to two other World Series, and they keep cutting payroll. They won't let us sign even, moderate free agents, guys that aren't all that expensive. And they say, no. He says, they're killing the Golden Goose. I don't know why you'd want to kill the Golden Goose, but they are killing the Golden Goose. Well, he was right. And Anheuser-Busch was basically getting ready to prepare to sell that team. They weren't quite there yet, but Whitey was right. They killed the Golden Goose. The brewery's ownership killed that Golden Goose that Whitey Herzog had brought and developed in St. Louis. And, history is, in fact, repeating itself with DeWitt as owner. However, see, this makes you understand how great they were for those who, maybe younger fans or whatever, or those who just don't want to acknowledge it. I'm still going to talk about it. With DeWitt as owner, even through all of this up until now, the Cardinals ranked fourth among major league teams in regular season winning percentage over the last 30 seasons. Fourth. They've made the postseason 17 times, which is tied with the Dodgers for third most in the majors since 1996. And they, DeWitt's Redbirds, since 1996, have won 12 division titles, 4 pennants, 2 World Series titles. Since 1996, only the Yankees and Astros have won more postseason games than the St. Louis Cardinals. And even with the Cardinals failing to be much of a postseason factor over the past 10 games, the past 10 seasons. The number of postseason home games played and won by the Cardinals since 1996 is very impressive, even with this recent drought, right? Since DeWitt took over before the 1996 season, the Cardinals ranked third in the majors for most postseason games played at home and third in the majors for most postseason games won at home. Only the Yankees and Dodgers have topped the Cardinals for postseason success at home since 1996. This is 30 years later. But they've killed the Golden Goose. They had everything on top just right, and they let it slide. That's their fault. It wasn't just winning. The Cardinals, man, I think back all those teams I covered and wrote about and talked about and still think about, all the big time stars and award winners and all-stars and future Cooperstown Hall of Famers, future Cardinal Hall of Famers, some of whom are already in the Hall of Fame, same with Cooperstown. It's just amazing. And I mean, it's just like a partial list, right? Albert Pujols, Yadier Molina, Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, Mark McGwire, Chris Carpenter, Adam Wainwright, Carlos Beltran, Larry Walker, Will Clark, Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado. You could even throw some other guys in there, like Cardinal Hall of Famers, like Matt Morris and Jason Isringhausen and Edgar Renteria and who else? I mean, on and on and on and on and on. And of course, of TLR, Tony La Russa. I mean, you talk about star power. My goodness, the star power was immense. And all of the winning, but despite all of the winning and the many baseball heroes that had built up a lot of equity for the DeWitt ownership, a lot of equity. That equity has plummeted, and it plummeted and dissolved faster than I ever would have imagined. The Cardinals haven't won a postseason game since 2019, and they are 5-14 in the postseason since 2015, and they've lost 9 out of their last 10 postseason games. And while the Cardinals have had only one losing season since the start of 2008, and that's not easy to do. You just go take a look at some of the more prominent franchises and count up losing seasons. That's a pretty remarkable thing to have one losing season, right? In all those seasons from 2008 through this year. Well, we don't know how this year will go. But the competitive consistency has been outstanding. But it really doesn't matter that much or as much as it did to many Cardinals fans. And I get it, but I'm just pointing it out. The DeWitts are now viewed pretty much with utter disdain, and that's an incredible shift from the popularity they enjoyed for 25 years. I can't think of a successful franchise. Maybe I'm forgetting something. I mean, I covered the Dallas Cowboys when Jerry Jones took over, and I know that he gets ripped, but the Cowboys aren't unpopular. They're as popular as ever, right? But I can't think of a successful team sport franchise in North America that's won as much as the Cardinals over so many years, only to see so many fans turn away during a downturn that was pretty much inevitable, but it could have been avoided. It just shows you really how quickly even the best situation can deteriorate, and it should be a lesson to everybody out there who owns a sports franchise. Bill DeWitt did not learn from the example of Anheuser-Busch killing the Golden Goose because he kind of did it himself. When I return for segment number 3 on the Bernie Show, I'll go with a quick hit review, kind of quick hits, on why the DeWitts and the Cardinals have lost so much popularity in a short time and some initial thoughts on what it's going to take to get it back. But in all candor, I'm going to save that for a video coming up soon. But first, some words about Blue Chew, because I'm proud to represent Blue Chew, because Blue Chew is trying to help dudes like me. And Blue Chew has helped dudes like me, so I want to see other guys benefit from it too. Gentlemen, Blue Chew, you probably have heard of it. If you haven't, it's a big blue dose of power that can help you raise your game for those intimate and exciting times with your partner. You can add even more excitement. Just add more excitement with an assist from our friends at Blue Chew. As we say, chew it and do it. Yep, chew it and do it. That simple. If your game is lame, then Blue Chew is there to help instead of a dud. Why not set off fireworks when you're with your significant other? Fellas, if you need a more powerful bat, Blue Chew is in the equipment room, so go get it, and you can hit a home run in the bedroom or any other room for that matter. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced performance. Blue Chew can help men of all ages, including dudes like me in their 60s. And as I said, if I can be helped by Blue Chew, I know I like your chances of being helped as well. You should at least try, right? I want Blue Chew to help you, but you got to want Blue Chew to help you. Listen, you're going to get your first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away. You sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you are approved, you will receive your prescription at your doorstep in a few days. All done online, simple and private, delivered to your door, made in America. That is Blue Chew. You can try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Bernie that you just pay the $5 shipping. That's promo code Bernie to get your first month free, and the only cost to you is a $5 shipping fee. Visit, once again, bluechew.com for more details and important safety information, and we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring The Bernie Show. All right, I'm back for the third and final segment of today's Bernie Show. All right, and I said I would dig into this question. Why have the Cardinals gone from extreme popularity with the fans to a team that's losing more fans than any team in the majors over the last 2 seasons? Kind of quick hits. Number one, disdain for the DeWitts and the belief that they took the fans' loyalty for granted. Number two, the commitment to winning has been scrutinized, criticized, and constantly brought up, and that noise resonates. And when you say an owner is not committed to winning, it's one of the most damning things you can say about him. And that image, that reputation, the state of business, the way they're doing things, no matter how many times the Cardinals protest, that's exactly the situation they've put themselves in to look like a team that is not fully committed to winning. And yeah, even though the DeWitt family since 1996 has done more winning than any baseball ownership family other than the Steinbrenners. Again, I'm not talking about the Johnny-come-latelys like the Dodgers and the Mets. I'm talking about continuously owned franchises since 1996. You got the Yankees and you got the Cardinals. And the DeWitts have been not quite as successful as the Yankees, but the Yankees play in, I believe it's still the biggest city and the biggest market in the United States. The Cardinals' market size is relatively modest, although the baseball attendance has made up the gap on that. But that's the peril of this. If you slack off and you're not trying everything you can do that's reasonable to win, well, instead of 3 million plus each year, that's gone down into the 2 millions. And that's when you have real problems. But anyway, the obsession with payroll, I bitch about this all the time. The Milwaukee Brewers and other organizations have proven to me over and over again, it's more about being smart. Yeah, you need to have a representative. You need to have a respectful, you need to have an above average payroll. But the Cardinals' problems have been a lot more about stupidity and complacency than anything to do with what they spend on payroll. Number 3, John Mozeliak. The Mo fatigue is huge. It's real. It's huge. It's real. And it's going to follow him out the door. And it might even have some hangover effect. Over the last 10 seasons, no one has done more to harm the Cardinals' brand and their prestige and the relationship with their fans than John Mozeliak. And of course, this occurred under DeWitt's watch, and he stood by his man, so it's DeWitt's fault as well. Number 4, the deep contempt for Mozeliak is also carried over to manager Oli Marmol, who lacks popularity because he's viewed as Mo's guy. People call him Mo's puppet. It's wrong. You have no idea how often they disagree on things. But you know what? Every manager's got a boss, all right? I don't know why you think like managers don't lose battles to their team president or their general manager. It doesn't make them a puppet, but everybody around here wants to call Marmol a puppet. Why? Because Mozeliak picked Marmol to replace Mike Shildt after Schilt's abrupt firing by Mozeliak, which he didn't explain. After days after the Cardinals were eliminated in the 2021 wild card game. The absence of star power, number 5, the absence of star power is a real problem. This has not been an exciting team since 2022 when Goldie was the MVP. Arenado was third. They were at their career peaks. Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina had an unforgettable farewell season. I mean, everything was aligned for Busch Stadium to be jam-packed and hopping and people excited and happy. That's pretty much the last time we saw that. When you win and win and win, number 6, when you win and win and win at a high level for a long period of time, and you're such a prominent force on the postseason stage, disappearing from that stage only fuels the anger and frustration of the fan base that had supported winning teams, have been like very, very, very much on board with doing their part in terms of spending money at the ballpark, spending money on merch, spending money on tickets. I mean, everything. The fans did their part, and they were a big part of the reason why the Cardinals were able to be in the postseason all the time and win at such a high level. And Bill DeWitt Jr. said that many times himself. But when all of a sudden you disappear, when you're part of a proud family, and all of a sudden you see the elder of the family let things slide, you're not going to have as much pride in the family, but you're going to have a lot more anger at the family, at the leader of the family, because this franchise has won just a single postseason round since defeating the Dodgers in the 2014 NLDS. That is a long time ago. I can't believe it. That really makes me feel older than I am. But anyway, and the Cardinals, as I mentioned, they are 1-9 in their last 10 playoff games. That's not going to work here at a place where the standards were much higher. Number 7, winning and returning to the postseason would help, but this team has to cultivate a collective personality that is entertaining and pleasing to the fans who want to take pride in their team, who love their players, not only because their players are good, because the players provide such joy and the players have fun personalities and they're interesting. And you sort of absorb some of that identity as Cardinals fans. You feel like you're all in this together. The Cardinals are not only mediocre on the field, but for the most part, they are bland and they are generic. And that is the truth. It can change, but that's what it is right now. Number 8, and this is a big one, brutally, and I mean brutally poor messaging. This has a lot to do with Mozeliak. I'm just unbelievable. Like, he couldn't even explain why he fired Schilt. So many times he's promised things or he's misled the fans about what they were going to do, and it doesn't happen. And no one has a reason to believe him, really. But it isn't just about Mo. It's Chairman Bill DeWitt Jr. and Team President Bill DeWitt III. They're responsible for this as well. Rather than discuss the state of the team in an honest, forthright, candid way that actually shows respect to the fan base, I know as a fan, I'd rather have someone tell me the truth rather than try to finesse it and talk me into believing they're still trying to win or they got a good chance and all this other stuff. I'd rather have you not insult my intelligence. I'd rather have you be straight with me. And the lack of candor and straightforward talk that we have seen around here for a while now, it just doesn't show respect to the fan base. It actually reinforces the belief fans have that they take us for granted. And when that happens in sports, you take the customers for granted, man, it's a bad moon rising over your ballpark. And that's exactly what happened here. The Cardinals have made promises or pledges that aren't kept. They've presented a more favorable team outlook for the coming season than what was warranted. That adds more frustration. Worst of all, and you know where I'm going with this, worst of all, the DeWitts have threatened fans, in effect, by saying, hey, well, if you don't come and attendance is down, well, we're just going to have to cut payroll. You leave us no choice. Bill DeWitt III basically said that when Martin Kilcoyne of Fox 2 asked him about the decline in attendance last year or late in 23, whatever it was. And Bill DeWitt III on the phone chuckled. He laughed, basically said, well, I guess they don't understand that if they don't show up and, fill the place, we're just not going to be able to spend that much money. And listen, there is at least some factual basis for that, because revenue, absolutely is relevant to how much your payroll is going to be, right? But you can't throw it in the fans' face like that as an indirect threat, because what Bill DeWitt III said came off as like a threat, and he laughed. So the tone-deaf Cardinals desperately, and I mean desperately, need a public relations specialist in-house who can save these people from themselves when they talk to the media or talk in public. Number 9, yes, there are concerns about crime and safety in downtown St. Louis, but I've looked at the numbers. I live in the city. I pay taxes in the city. I go downtown a lot. My wife goes downtown a lot. it's like any other metropolitan city. Yeah, you gotta look around. You can't be down there wandering around, not knowing what you're doing, or got to be aware of your surroundings. But that's true. Let me tell you something. That's true of a lot of places. You seen some of the stuff happening in Clayton recently? Anyway, it's been exaggerated in relation to how it impacts the Cardinals. The Cardinals have spent a lot of money on game night or game day security around the ballpark. They want to have it safe as could be for their fans. And I think some of the parking lots around there need to do a better job of having security. I think concerns over the crime would not be aired out as much as it had been or it has been if the Cardinals had a wildly successful, enjoyable, entertaining team on the field. What, you don't think crime existed back when they were winning pennants and World Series? I think it did. See, fans from the suburbs or from, maybe any parts of the state, Illinois, whatever, fans from the suburbs had no safety concerns, filling every nook and cranny and buying up every single ticket there was that you could get when the Savannah Bananas sold the place out for 2 nights in a row last month. I didn't hear anybody talking about crime. My brother from Maryland texted me. He said, well, what's the crime report? Like, how many people, he was being facetious. How many people were mugged? They were down there to see the Savannah Bananas. I mean, there must have been a lot of mugging and carjackings, right? It must have been a lot of felony crime committed. He was being facetious. The point is, nobody gave one thought to, quote, crime when they went down there with great enthusiasm to watch the Savannah Bananas. I think that tells us something, don't you? So that's why I'm not being disrespectful to those who are genuinely concerned about crime, but part of that is the Cardinals have not exactly done enough to tell the fans what they've done in terms of security and how much they take it seriously. So again, messaging is a big part of the perception. Listen, the Cardinals have a ton of work to do to get the fans back on their side. Ain't going to be easy. And I'm sorry to tell you, you know this. And in fact, I feel stupid saying it because it's obnoxious for me to say it. Bill DeWitt is not going to all of a sudden go out there spending with the Dodgers and the Mets and the Yankees and, some other franchise we can name, because he's never done that. I mean, the Cardinals won the World Series. Each time they ranked 11th in payroll. Their average payroll size since he became the owner of the Cardinals has been around somewhere between 11th and 12th. So they've been very successful with the payroll of that size, and they can do it again because this is about being smarter. It's about being smarter and not wasting money. That's the problem. It ain't spending the money. It's throwing it away. And they've done that way too much. And that's why I think Chaim Bloom is going to clean this up because payroll efficiency is a great thing. It is not a bad term. Oh, payroll efficiency. Oh my God. No, it basically means you're not burning up and incinerating your own payroll dollars. You're putting it to best use. And then if you have payroll efficiency, you can top off your roster by bringing in some free agents. So, but listen, Chaim Bloom, and he didn't create any of this, but when he starts to talk to the public, to the fans, Chaim Bloom has got to join ownership in being straightforward 100% about where the Cardinals are now, what they have to do to get back to being a great team again. And they have to tell the fans whether they describe it as a rebuild. And by the way, a rebuild does not mean you're sentencing yourself to losing for 18 years or something. They got to be straight about, okay, this is the plan. This is our goal. This is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be doing, how we're going to go about it. And some of the stuff some fans may not want to hear, but you have to tell them that. You have to be transparent and honest. The worst thing you can do is mislead them again. Lying to the fans will only increase the already incredible level of bitterness and mistrust the fans have towards Cardinals ownership and management. That's where it all starts. Show your fans the respect with truth, honesty, and transparency. Don't play games. Don't treat them like you think, oh, we can con these people. You got to be straightforward with it, even if some of the message is something Cardinals fans don't want to hear. Maybe some don't want to hear about a rebuild. I don't know. But a methodical approach to rebuilding this thing from the ground up is absolutely necessary. And if anybody, if people don't understand that, man, I'm out of words because I don't want to insult you because it's such an obvious thing what they need to do. Anyway, that's it for me. And I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. And I'm going to be back Monday with another Bernie Show video presented by DraftKings here on STL Sports Central. Once again, thank you very much.